Well, it looks like we're off to a pretty good start here, but this print is going to take like 48 hours, so I'm going to check back with you guys in a few days and see how it turns out. So today I'm going to be putting new door speakers in the Camaro. They are 6.5-inch round speaker. This is a Boston acoustic system, and the way they mount in from factories with these big large speaker brackets, they're actually all one piece. The speaker and the bracket is all together, and you can't remove the speaker from the bracket. So we're going to be using FreeCAD to design a speaker bracket that'll allow me to put an aftermarket 6.5-inch round speaker into the factory door panel. We're going to have to replicate this bit of a hook on one end and then also the mounting hole on the other end here. So we'll get some measurements off this thing, get everything laid out in FreeCAD, and then start designing the bracket. I started with a circle the same outside diameter as the factory bracket, then added the smaller circle and this rectangle to do our mounting hole and our mounting tab off of. I then added a cylinder in the center and hollowed it out for the speaker to mount into, which is the same height as the factory speaker bracket. Added the mounting hole into that half circle and chamfered the edges of the rectangle just to kind of make it look a little bit better. Then on the underside, I filleted that inside edge just to kind of smooth things out and make it look a lot better, more like a finished product. Flipping it back over to the top again, I then basically filleted or chamfered any corner or any straight edge to get the whole thing looking really nice and really smooth, and to get, again, give it that finished product look and not like it's homemade. Then I needed to make the mounting flange for the other side. Again, there I just started with a rectangle and did a raised block, then filleted the one edge to smooth it out. And then from the other flat side there, I did another raised block and then filleted and chamfered it to give it kind of a bit of a hook so it'd be easy to slide in when you're installing it into the door frame. I'll zoom in here so you can get a close-up look at how that ended up. So the brackets ended up turning out pretty good. It took me about 5 tries to finally get to this final bracket design. I had trouble with the hook at the bottom there where it slides into the factory door mount. It kept breaking off, it wasn't strong enough, but now you can see it's really strong, really fat where it mounts to the base. And the slot itself does slide in very good as well. And the screw lines up with the factory screw. I'll post my completed design on Thingiverse, so if you want to do it yourself, you can go ahead and grab it off there and print off your own speaker brackets. I know the speaker brackets are pretty cheap to buy, but I like doing things myself and making things myself, and it's essentially almost free to do it on the printer. They do end up taking about 2 days to print, so it's about a 4-day print for the 2 brackets in total, but printer can run while you're sleeping, so no big deal there. So to get started on getting these things ready for install, like any 3D print, there's always a little bit of cleanup to be done. I'm just going to use a sharp knife here to clean out that slot where it needs to slide into the door frame. It does almost fit the way it is. It's really close, but cleaning it out with this knife makes it fit in just like the factory one did. So I can't emphasize that enough. These speaker brackets do fit like factory. So if you're worried about printing them, don't worry. They actually turned out really good, and it did take me quite a few tries to get to this point. With that taken care of, we can now move on to prepping the speaker bracket for the speaker install. Just like any other speaker bracket, you're going to want to use some 2-sided foam tape around the top lip here where the speaker mounts into. This is going to help seal the speaker and keep any unwanted vibrations from happening. With that finished up, we're going to head back over to the door panel, and something I'm going to do is take the time to put some sound deadening material inside of this door panel. It's going to help a lot with the way the vehicle sounds. It's actually an upgrade you can do to a factory vehicle without even replacing your speakers, and it will make it sound better. I'm going to go ahead and cut some small strips here. This door panel is a little bit funky inside. It has a support going halfway up there, but if you cut a bunch of strips and just keep laying them in there one after another, you'll eventually get it covered as much as you possibly can within reason. It will take a bit of time, but you're going to want to try to cover any thinner piece of metal or any wide flat surface that's going to cause some vibration. It also is going to deaden some unwanted sounds from behind the speaker, so you can pretty much cover any surface you want there. Okay, one quick thing I should mention is if you're laying it in the bottom of the door there, just be aware of door drains. If there is any, to stay away from them. Don't cover them up. Otherwise, you'll get a bunch of water up in your door.
Now you could do some sound deadener on the outside surface where the speaker mounts, or you could put the speaker in and then put some on as well. The Camaro door panel doesn't really give us much flat surfaces to put anything on, so I'm going to skip through that. But we will take a close-up look here of the finished product inside of the door panel of how I laid it out in this door. You're also going to want to go ahead and get yourself a set of these fast rings. They're kind of like foam plugs that go in behind the speaker and around the speaker, and they help with sound deadening as well and canceling out some unwanted noises from in behind the speaker there. The first one we're going to install here is just basically a big round foam block. In this case, because of that door brace that goes up on the Camaro door, I'm going to cut a slot in it here, and then I'll be able to take it and kind of wrap it around that door brace and still stick it in there so I get the whole block and don't have to cut it in half or cut it smaller. You can see here the slot is allowing it to open up kind of like a big Pac-Man. So you're just going to take Mr. Big Pac-Man, stick him into the door panel there, and he's going to chomp up that inner door brace around it. The next medium-sized fast ring is going to go on the back side of where the speaker mounts to and kind of stick to the inside of the door panel. I'll show you a close-up here in a minute of how it installs alongside the other one. And we'll come up close here for a closer look. You can see that medium-sized one stuck to the back side of the door panel. And then inside there you can see Mr. Pac-Man. He's very full of door brace right now. This is a much better option than, say, cutting it right in half and just sticking one piece underneath and one on top. This way it's still one block and it still does a better job. What you didn't see here is me installing the speaker into the plastic speaker bracket that we 3D printed. I just installed it in the top there with the provided screws that came with the speaker. For whatever it's worth, it's an Alpine Type R speaker. I'm now just using some silicone on the mounting side of the speaker bracket. This is going to help glue it in place to keep it solid, keep it from vibrating, and also seal it up to keep it sounding good. You can see the speaker bracket fits right into that slot real nicely, and then we're able to install the factory screw into the factory place in the door panel. One thing to note that I did not mention earlier is the speaker bracket is the right height, the same way that the factory speakers were, so it is the correct distance to your door speaker grill in your door panel. And here's a close-up of it installed. You can see it sits nice and flush against the door frame and fits just like the factory speaker does. Alright, and back onto fast rings. The third and last fast ring that we are going to install is the same outer diameter as the speaker itself. It's just going to go right onto the outside around the rim of the speaker, as you can see here. We are going to need to trim this outer fast ring to the correct height for the door panel. Just use your door panel up against it to measure kind of where it needs to be, and then always trim off a little less because it's easier to trim more after than it is to add it back on. And with that set, we can go ahead and install our door panel, which isn't really exciting at all, so I think we're just going to fast forward through all that. We'll take a quick look in the back here before I close it up and have a look at how I use the sound deadening mat on it as well. Covered as many flat surfaces as possible. You can also see I have the Alpine Type R 6x9s installed in the back tray there. I use the factory speaker grills to help protect the speakers when you're installing that back package tray. Alright, so that pretty much takes care of the installation, which means the next step is testing them out and see how they sound. Well,
I sound pretty good. Of course, I'm going to have to do a little bit of fine tuning in the audio processor. I got a JL audio processor in this thing. So yeah, I guess that'll pretty much wrap it up for this video. If you want to print those speaker brackets yourself, check out my Thingiverse. I'll put a link in the description. Don't forget to check out loweredempire.com and use ZPerf, this promo code at the bottom of the screen right here. Get yourself 15% off anything you want off their website. And thanks for watching. Sub to the channel would be great, so I can see you in the next one.